So thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be going inside of a local farm. This is just an organic farm near my house. I'm going to be picking up some different items for my vegetable soup today. So I got back from the farm and let me show you what I got and what I plan on putting in my soup today. So these are the vegetables I got. It only cost $8 for everything, but look at this beautiful kale. It's just gorgeous. I'm gonna be putting some of that in my soup. I've got some wonderful fresh cilantro. So I'm gonna show you how I preserve that for the week and keep it really nice and fresh. I've got a nice zucchini. It's a little Italian zucchini. I've got a fresh tomato that I got, and then I got some little tomatoes that these are just gonna be for the salad for the week. So that's what I got at the farm. And then I took some carrots and some cauliflower and some broccoli out of my freezer. These were things that I grew this last summer. I've got a little bit of cabbage and I've got a little bit of corn, and I'm gonna add some sweet potato. Now, obviously I'm not gonna put every bit of this in my soup, but I am gonna put some of it in it, and it is gonna be the most delicious soup. You're gonna be amazed. So let me show you how I do this, how I kind of prep this. I'm gonna be eating this soup for a couple of days. Fall is here, even though the temperature is still warm in Southern California. It is fall and it's soup season for me. So I am gonna have my first soup of the season, and we're gonna start off with a nice poor man's soup, which is for me is like a little hamburger soup. I'm gonna be using a little bit of ground chuck. Now, I'm not gonna use the whole thing. I'm only gonna use maybe a third to a half of it. I just want it to kind of flavor the soup a little bit. So let's get going browning up the meat, and I'll show you the easy way that I make my vegetable soup. So I'm gonna start off by adding a little bit of olive oil to my pan, just a little bit. And these are some frozen onions that I had out in my freezer. These are from my garden. And I am gonna start off by cooking these. Now, even though I'm not gonna use all of this hamburger meat, I'm gonna cook it all up, and then I'm gonna freeze some of it for another dish later on, maybe next week. This is a great way to have meat on hand if you want quick tacos or something like that that you wanna fix really quickly so that you have a meal, maybe so you don't have to run out and get fast food. I try to always have things on hand that I can prepare relatively quickly so that I'm not going out and getting things at the last minute because I don't want to cook. So this is going to be a crock pot soup. So I'm going to add my frozen vegetables in here first. I've got some cauliflower and broccoli here. I'll go ahead and add those. And then I've got some carrots. I'm gonna add these. Just like that. I'm gonna cut up a little bit of cabbage since I already have that cleaned, and then I'm gonna clean the rest of my vegetables for my soup. So all I'm gonna do with the kale is just take out that kind of tough stem in the middle, and we're just gonna have the softer part of the kale. I'm gonna cut all these at once. I'm in the middle of sewing this nightgown, which, you know, I'm not a seamstress. So I'm hoping that it's gonna come out okay. I got it all put together and kind of pinned and cut and all that yesterday. So today I'm gonna start the sewing process. So I'm hoping by tonight it's all ready and I can sit down and have a nice bowl of soup. That's my goal anyway. All right, so we're gonna put this beautiful kale into our pan. I'm also gonna put this big, beautiful tomato in here. This is fresh grown on the farm. Beautiful tomato. I mean, I've gotten to the point I just won't eat tomatoes unless they're homegrown. I'm not interested in the store-bought tomatoes. They're bland, they have no flavor. Even the ones that say vine grown, you know, they grow them in a hothouse or a greenhouse, they're terrible. I don't want that in my soup or in my salad or anything I'm fixing. So this is all we're gonna do. All I did was take the core out, just kind of lightly chop this, and I'm gonna throw this in my soup. No reason to buy a can of canned tomatoes when you can have fresh tomatoes from the vine, from your local farm. And you can see why this is gonna be such a good soup. It is gonna be absolutely delicious. Now I do want to put some sweet potato in there. So you see how huge these sweet potatoes are. I don't want this much sweet potato in my soup. Maybe about 1/3 to 1/2 of this one. But I decided what I'm gonna do, since I have to cut this one anyway, I'm gonna peel them both. And since I'll be eating these this week as sweet potato fries, air fried in my oven, I'm gonna go ahead and just prepare them and get them ready for the freezer. And then I'll have them all ready. When I'm ready for some fries, I'll just take them out and throw them in the air fryer. Now, if I was going to, keep these sweet potatoes in the freezer longer than a couple of days to a week, honestly, I wouldn't even look at moving forward with not blanching them. But since I'm only going to have them in there for probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 3-4 days tops, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, I'm just going to cut these into little chunks to go in my soup, and the rest of these I'm going to make into French fries. They are much healthier than potatoes, but if you prefer to put potatoes in your soup, go ahead and do that. I like kind of chunky fries. That's just me. But you cut your French fries any way you like them. This is just how I do it. And this is going to make quite a bit. All right, I'm going to put these on a tray and just throw these in the freezer for another day. I'm going to just freeze them individually like this. And like I said, if you're going to do this longer than a few days, then you'll want to blanch them because it'll just help preserve them for as long as you have them in there. All right, I'm just going to kind of put these in a single layer, best I can here. And this is basically just 1.5 sweet potatoes. These were some big potatoes. You can see why I didn't want to put it all in my soup. It's just a lot. Okay, so I'm going to throw this out in the freezer for another day. And when these are frozen solid, I'm just going to throw them in a Ziploc bag. I spent about $3.50 on the ground beef. I'm just going to be putting about maybe 1/3 of it in. The rest, maybe 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest just in a bowl so it cools. And then I'll be freezing it after it cools. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add some Better Than bouillon. I don't have any beef broth on hand, but this is really good when you don't. It's very, very good. So I'm going to put a large teaspoon of this in. And don't worry that it's not going to mix in right away. It'll mix in when the water gets hot. And then I'm going to add my seasonings. I'm going to be putting in some powdered garlic with parsley. about a half a teaspoon. I'm going to be putting in some cracked black pepper. I'm going to be putting in some of my Thai basil. This stuff is the best. This was actually from last summer. This summer I did a lime basil, which is really good, but I don't think it's as good as this Thai basil. This is my seasoning blend. It's got oregano, thyme, parsley, Italian parsley, and rosemary, and then I've mixed it up with some garlic powder. I'm gonna put some of that in there and just a little bit of salt. Now I'm just gonna add some water. So I'm also gonna put about a tablespoon of tomato paste. I do like kind of a tomatoey liquid. And that's it. I'm gonna set it in the crock pot on low. Actually, I think I'll put it on high for about an hour or two and just kind of get it all started cooking, and then I'll turn it down to low until it's time to have dinner. All right, I'll bring you back when our soup is ready to serve. Our soup is done. My whole house just smells unbelievable. I am so happy it's soup season. Let me show you how this turned out. Look at that beautiful soup. Isn't that amazing? Oh, smells so good. This is my beautiful soup. You can see it's just got everything in it, and my whole house just smells amazing. So let's give it a try. All right, we're gonna give our soup a try. Perfecto mundo. So good. It doesn't need anything else. It is absolutely delicious. And it's healthy, it's organic, it's just wonderful. So give soup a try. Don't be nervous. If you've got the kitchen sink, throw it in there too. So thank you so much for watching me today. I appreciate you supporting my channel. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring the bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.